really didn't notice it until I was off the air yesterday about Tua, coach the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, and Brian Flores, his first coach in the NFL, very intense defensive guy, and pretty enlightening stuff.
To say the least, yeah.
Yeah, so Tua, on a podcast, Dan Le Batard podcast, came out and basically said Brian Flores was a terrible person, and every day told me how horrible I was. And it was such a breath of fresh air to have young Mike McDaniel from Kyle Shanahan's system, his coaching tree, who every day wakes up and says, I'm so lucky to have you. He said basically, what would it be like in your life if one person told you you were awful and no good and was just treated you poorly, and then somebody else walked in and said, I can't believe, I'll put my arms around you, how lucky we are. And he called Brian Flores, who's now a coordinator with the Vikings, a terrible person. And you know what I thought of? When there's a term that is used in the NBA, and we use it all the time on this show, we call it Villanova guys. And it speaks very well of Jay Wright and the Villanova program, although now he's moved on to broadcasting. It means not much ego, hardworking, relentless, coachable, no baggage, love the game, great locker room guy. You say Villanova guy, it's like everybody in the NBA wants a Villanova guy. It speaks beyond just the player, it's the culture that they came from. And I think as Bill Belichick looks for a job next year, and this broadcasting thing, that's not what he ever dreamed of doing. There's a new term, and it's used in football, and it's called Belichick guys. They're all combative. They're obnoxious. Flores, Matt Patricia, Joe Judge, Josh McDaniel, Bill O'Brien. They used to call Bill O'Brien apparently Teapot. Brady did and Brian Hoyer did because he boiled over all the time in meetings. And this thing with Brian Flores, it's beyond obnoxious. It's cruel. And it's essentially the opposite of the Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan tree. The D'Amico Ryans, the Robert Salehs, the Kevin O'Connells, they come out, they're collaborative, they get along with people, they're pro-player, Belichick guys. And, you know, Brian Flores probably watched Belichick dog cuss Brady for years. I mean, Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, people have come out, even those who are favorable with Belichick, and said, I can't believe what Tom put up with. And it's becoming crystal clear. Sorry, Belichick fanboys and sycophants. It's becoming crystal clear is that Tom Brady, and only Tom Brady, elevated Belichick and the entire staff. Josh McDaniel couldn't get along with Derek Carr and Jay Cutler. Matt Patricia couldn't get along with Matt Stafford. Who fights with Matt Stafford? Stafford gets along with everybody. This is what it is. Brian Flores, called a terrible person. And I don't think Tua is the best quarterback in the league, but he's a nice kid. He's a nice guy. Everybody I know that's ever dealt with him really likes him. Really a professional, works really hard. Villanova guys in the NBA is a great term. Belichick guys in the NFL is toxic. And the entire staff, they watch their mentor. And it's Belichick. Increasingly, these young quarterbacks coming out of college, NIL, they've made $1 million or $2 or $3 or $4 or $5 million. I don't want to put up with this nonsense. Got to be collaborative. You can't be obnoxious and rigid. And for the record, Belichick, better than all his assistants, 11 years in the NFL without Tom Brady as a starter, 1 playoff win. And he's the best of the Belichick guys, Bill. So I don't think as Belichick keeps looking for work, I don't think this is good. I think there's now a term. I think we now just see obnoxious, non-collaborative, authoritative. No thanks. Bill got one interview, one legitimate interview. This story doesn't help him at all. It falls on him to a large degree. It's just like Mikal Bridges. When he went to the Knicks, he benefited from Jay Wright, Villanova, Jalen Brunson. There's no question. Mikal Bridges had a larger market than maybe his 18 to 20 a game you would think would create. But it's like he's a Villanova guy. You know, the company you keep says a lot. The group, the culture you're part of says a lot. Be very careful about it. So yesterday we had Chris Collins.